2 of the 5th season of ILR3, ILR in general, and we're going to be going around China. We've got a grid of 19, so a great turnout for today. Interesting what it's going to be for qualifying, because obviously we've got that gap in the compound. We haven't got the super softs, we just got the ultras, softs and mediums. And try and give a bit of more of a laid-back feel today, because it's just me. We all want to have a good time here, and first one out is a Sauber. I think that may be Rampage. It is Rampage. So we may as well go on board with him for his out lap, and may as well go around for his flying lap as well. Just see how all of the tyres handle. I'm expecting quite a big gap between hardest and softest, because remember there is a gap of 3 tyres. Obviously, with that gap. You've got to remember that gap, because the ultras, yes, they're going to be quick in qualifying. It's just a question of what they're going to be like in the race. Rampage getting a lot of understeer through that car already. I have a feeling because we also don't have much of the track rubbing in at all, because we haven't had any practice sessions around here obviously either. Yeah. So we're just going to see how our tyres handle to start off with, and then we'll just get a general consensus of how people are going to shape up on the grid depending on what tyres they're going to be on. If they do go on a harder tyre and ignore the ultras, we're going to pretty much see an almost definite one-stop depending on what if they get any incidents. If an incident, pretty much a definite 2-stop unless they could hold on to the wing damage, but it is quite severe in this game. Even light green damage is quite severe. It's very noticeable as well and cuts you off quite badly. As in, like, maybe certain corners you were taking flat out before, you can't take it flat out anymore. That's probably the biggest disadvantage you get. Wing damage slows you down more in the slower corners, fast corners, sorry, in the slower corners, because you need that speed to activate all the aerodynamics in the first place. Rampage goes very wide at the last corner. That may validate his flying lap already. On board with Savage Aqua, as you know, the Savage is what I'm going to call him. For his first lap, his front end is really struggling to get in with these medium tyres. Staying in reasonable higher gears, bit of short shifting to dull the power coming out the corner. Pretty good launch out of turn 4 there. There's through turn 5, flat out corner, into turn 6, hairpin. Probably see quite a few overtaking moves. Imagine if we had DRS into that corner, that would be something. There's a Hassan 1G, I'm not too sure what that was. But, cold tyres. You've seen that, we already saw that in real life, but here where we have tyre blankets, I'm not too sure how that's just happened. Never mind. Through into the start of Sector 3, another snail chicane. There's 2 of these on this track, turns, I want to say 1 to 4, because for some reason, that long right-hander at the start, they pass with 3 corners, the FIA. I want to hear the explanation behind that, but it does make for a bit of confusion, I have to say. Yellow Sector 1 and Sector 2, I have a feeling that's just for people getting out of the way of other people's laps. Hopefully there's going to be no blocking, because it is a fairly wide track. Fairly good track for overtaking as well, to be honest. I think it was a 2016 race. There was the most amount of overtakes in a Formula 1 race ever, so yeah. Everybody finished that race in the end. Oh, Savage gets very wide the last corner, but he does not invalidate his lap. 34. Pretty good time for mid. Rampage didn't invalidate his lap like I thought he would have originally, but Stacker Sam is going to be the next one across the line in the Force India. I'm not too sure how his sectors have gone up so far, but I don't think it's going to be a very competitive time. I think he's made a few mistakes. Here, 1:33.1, flat, sorry. And 5/10 off Savage Aqua. Let's see if anybody else is on a lap as either. I'm not too sure what my English is going to mind either. So lap affinity in the Ferrari coming through. I think it's not too sure if it's an outlap or not. Laser guns, ignore that time, that would have just been a lap where he made a mistake and lifted off. Everything is doing a bit of oversteer coming through the last corner, turn 15. And 1, 2 and 3. Better run through there than Aqua, I have to say, in terms of understeer. That may be a bit of ballast work doing that, but there's more understeer through turn 4, interestingly. Snod has retired. Is that a crash in Sector 3? I'm not... because I'm not too sure where it would have been if it was in Sector 3, because the nature of this game it takes the car away from the track before you actually have an opportunity to see where the wreckage is. So he's going to have to tell me in the chat where that happened. But we know Snod, we know he wants to get the Supercharger award, and now he's probably going to be starting in last. He has a good opportunity to get it. Leopard Trinity not really liking his tyres. He went very wide through turn 7. Had to lift off quite a lot. And also we've got the Esports qualifiers going around here, so I'm expecting pretty good times from these guys so far. Only 4 people have set a lap, so I'm not sure if people are struggling with the invalidations or what, but yeah, it's not really a track to be getting those, if I'm honest. Even with strict on this, there's not really any corners where it would prove to be an advantage trying corners, because most of the corners around here are based off momentum when you think about it, not through short sheer lines. Yellow flag, so Passion 1G again. I'm not too sure what's going on with Passion at the moment, unless he's having some major wheel problems. That's what I'm going to put that down to in a minute. Everything is the slowest of all time set so far. So even on the medium tyres, I would have thought maybe you could be able to do a couple laps on them, a couple of flying laps, but Blazer Guns does set a lap in the M1.5 off of Savage Aqua. A lot of improvements to be made, because I would have thought most of the second runs would come on the soft or ultra soft tyre. I don't think we'll see many people, if any, start on the medium side, because they'd just be too slow compared to the other 2 compounds. Joker also on a lap as well. That's a big moment. You do not want to be doing that. It's easily done, but you don't want to be doing it regardless. Let me try and do flips. Yeah, never mind. So on board with Bank, he has gone straight on the ultras, so if this is his fastest time, he will be starting on them. On board with Passion, I'm not too sure what is up with that hat, but something major, whatever it is. More people than I thought are actually coming out on the ultras at the moment. Yellow sector 1, sector 3. Hampton taking a very tight line through turn 4. Again, short shifting. I think I haven't seen the one person not short shift through the exit of turn 4. He's going to have to avoid the hats of Passion's use. Spun it again. I'm not sure what's happening. He's got maybe getting stuck throttle. I'm not too sure. He's going through turn 7. He's probably taken the most momentum out of anybody I've seen on the medium tyre so far. And again, goes a bit wide again through turn 8 and then through turn 9, turn 10. You want to get the best exit onto a short straight as possible before you break down into turn 11. I think I'm getting the corners right. I'm not too sure. And then turn 12 opens out into turn 13. I do think I'm getting all these right, but being Shanghai, I don't actually think they've got any names, so I think I'm just going to stick to the numbers. Coming down the straight, got DRS now. You can see his thumb on the steering wheel, click over. You see a little blue light as well. That also signifies that DRS is open. You also see it in the mirror as well, so pretty much you can't miss that the DRS is open. Bit of oversteer through the hairpins. Just see how he handles the last turn. We've seen some people go very wide through it. He gets that very tidily. Is he going to go faster than Savage Aqua? He invalidated. Never mind. He's actually set 2 laps on them. So people are struggling with invalidations, it seems. Just general mistakes. Not a track I would have thought would have been the case. Steerage, I would have thought we would have just ignore that lap. Steerage finishing in P2 last week. I wouldn't have thought he was 3 seconds off the pace for a minute. So down into turn 6 yet again. This is his 3rd flying lap on the medium. Slides the back end a little bit, which unbelievably is the quickest way to get around a corner in this game. That's something they need to fix for the next game. Because drifting shouldn't be the fastest way to get to a corner on an F1 game. People really getting the laps out. Epics around 4/10 off. Pretty much everybody going on the mediums. Hamilton getting a bit too excited on the exit of 10 into 11 on. Maybe he's going to carry on with his lap. Let's see his telemetry, see if he is. He is going to carry on because he hasn't set one yet. He may as well put a banker in. And then come in at the end of his in-lap, put a set of softs on, and then just go for it again. He is going to have more grip on the softs as well as them being easier to warm up. DRS again. Into overtake mode, as you see, is the trend in this game. It is faster on the straight, it has been proven. A lot of yellows. So I'm starting to think people are making mistakes and not just getting out of the way. I think it must have happened behind Hamilton because wouldn't have, this didn't slow down at all. And that's Passion 1G again. He sets the fastest lap, but that was a bit close. I'm not. If he keeps on like that, I think we may have to wait until next week. Series beats his teammate by 2/10 straight afterwards. The two Mercedes 1-2, as we see the trend, carrying on the trend in game as in real life right now. Sam, the winner from last week, needs to pick up the pace a bit. He's 8/10 down on the top spot. I would have thought he one set of softs. No, he's sticking with the mediums. Maybe I was wrong in saying that we were just going to see nobody start on mediums. He is on a flyer as well, so people really want to get their head in with these tyres. I think he may have a wheel problem. I can't see it being anything else. So Prix with the next to settle out, open the DRS. Into turn 1, Passion 1G is going to have to stay out of the way. He's AI at the moment, so he'll be ghosted anyway. Engine braking very hard on the Renault there. It goes into second gear, probably the lowest I've seen so far through the corner. That's probably just to get the front. He doesn't bother to short shift though, that's interesting. The best exit he can, up to turn 5, through into turn 6, braking hard around the 100-metre board. That's to get the front end in very nicely. You just want. Around this track, there's a long straight, but very fast corners as well. So you're going to try and find a compromise between which area of the track you want to be more confident around. Usually, if you make a pass in the corners around this track, you're going to have to make do getting the best rest of the sector you possibly can. So on that back straight, if somebody has a straight line advantage over you, you can say goodbye again to that place that you just probably spent a good bit of effort trying to make up. Around this long bank turn 12. Bit of a moment there, manages to stay there pretty well. I think it's Prix Woods, that's one of the only ones with a flying lap at the moment. Still stayed in hot lap mode, interestingly. Maybe that's just how he prefers to go about things. Good exit out of the hairpin, turn 14, into turn 15. Hopefully doesn't go wide, he doesn't lose all the track, doesn't go on to the outside apex curve on the entry, comes across the line, goes 4th on a set of softs. I would have thought he could improve. It's definitely there because Hamilton has gone from round 3 tenths faster on the mediums. He has retired, so he doesn't want to go again regardless. Oh, go on board Hamilton. He's taking a lot of laps on these mediums. Although I have a feeling he is coming on in this lap because he has gone into the harvesting mode, as we can see from the 0 on entry. So, I don't think it's actually anybody setting any laps at the moment. Because Hamilton and Sam are on an in-lap. I think Joker's in the Williams has just gone on an out-lap on the soft. So this is going to be interesting to see what the pace of the softs is like. So far, the grid shapes up as we still haven't, sort of 7 drivers who haven't set a time. We'll probably only get a maximum of 17 who set a competitive time. Passion 1G has got some sort of issue, and Snod, well, he retired before he even got a chance to set a lap. Doing quite a quick out lap though, Joker. Normally people would prefer to do fairly laid back laps, just take time to warm up the brakes, warm up the tyres, rears especially. Because you want to be obviously pushing as hard as you can. You want to be getting the best exits possible, and from time to time maybe squeeze the accelerator too hard, you squeeze the brake too hard, you lock up, or you spin the wheels up too much, you spin out. Anything can happen on a quali lap. Through an error of another, not getting out of the way, through the error of the driver, just getting a bit too overexcited. As we see Joker about to start his lap in the Williams. I actually think I heard a bit of a lock-up then. He is actually the only one. A lot of people in an out-lap, so people are going to have to be careful not to get in the Williams' way. And the Williams in turn is going to be able to be very careful on his in-lap, not to get in the way of any others. Goes into turn 1. With a lot of momentum. That's too much momentum. He gets on the grass. I think he may as well carry on with it though. Almost soft tyres. He can make up quite a bit of time through the rest of the lap. Doesn't bother short shifting here either. More yellows in sector 2, so hopefully they disappear before the Williams get there. They do. Sometimes, well, this game just throws a yellow up sometimes for no absolutely explained reason. There is some more. I think that may actually just be some people trying to get some space for their lap. And Joker, as he started, wasn't too happy with that lap. Rampage is the first to set his second lap, I think, or is it edited form? Right, he's just about to start his, so we'll go on board with Rampage in the Sauber. Not a lot of steering lock. He's obviously not really confident in that car at the moment, I don't think. He doesn't bother to short shift. There are actually more people really giving it some now out of turn 4 than I previously led to believe. It's a bit deep, a bit like Joker and the Williams did. Maybe some drivers lacking a bit of brake pressure. It's easily done to make a setup error. So I'm pretty sure Park Ferme is onto this lead. I know some leagues prefer to keep it off because, you know, setup glitch is a thing. And if you've got Park Ferme on and you get stuck with the default setup glitch, you can't change it. But if Park Ferme is off, then you can get away. The setup glitch not affecting you. You simply just select that same setup again. Make a few modifications for race trim as well, such as bringing the ballast down, maybe giving it a bit of front wing like I prefer to. Because adding wing and not ballast, good, getting that away very nicely. That actually gave Rampage a bit of a tow. So I'm expecting a better lap from Rampage because he did set his initial lap on a set of mediums. That's only one compound difference between the softs and the mediums. Shouldn't be too much of a gap. I would have thought around 5 to 6 tenths. Comes across the line, he goes P7, and he improved by around 2 tenths. So I thought he would have gone a bit quicker. AJH, both Renaults have retired in second, so they won't start any higher than 4th and 9th, as I think that was over 30% above AJH. So 4th and 10th now for the two Renaults. ILR edited form goes fastest in the Red Bull with a 1:31.8. Pretty good time for him as well. ILRGT steerage now on set soft. We're going to go on board with him, see his whole lap. Savage Aqua, 4 tenths quicker than ILR. It's a great lap from the McLaren. Callum G is finished, so this will be everybody's final laps. Callum G and the McLaren going behind ILR, so we're really starting to see times tumble now. Steerage getting very nice purchase on that Mercedes into turn 8. There we go. Turn 9, turn 10 was the best exit possible. ILR Bibbin going P6 in the Toro Rosso. Not the best feeling car by any stretch. I don't think everyone tries to avoid the Toro Rosso as best they can. I mean, that's from what I've seen. ILR Jason now goes P3 in the other Red Bull. So Red Bull of good starting positions from where they are. And mine feels like a bit of a lift bend for a second. I'm not too sure what that was. He's not going for it again, so seriously going to start maximum P6. Not happy with that lap at all. ILR Bibbin parked way off track at the moment. It's only going to impede everybody's lap. It's only going to get a few people worried though, because seeing yellow just had nerves you a little bit. Maybe Hamilton steering his teammate coming through the final corner, activates the DRS, comes across the line now, and it's fastest for Hamilton. 10th and a half quicker than Savage Aqua. So that is a very good lap. Knocked his teammate, ironically though, down another, more importantly, down another row. So it's going to be a bit of a problem for his teammate. Jason run out of fuel casually. There's just Thornton coming back in the pit. I don't think there's actually anyone else really on the lap. Actually, no. Epic's also on a lap. That's probably the finest line I've seen so far through the last corner. D-rating quite a lot though. He didn't validate it as a matter of fact. So that's going to be AJH and Freyhard Wiz getting a bit of a mare of a time at the end. They were 4th and 9th before everyone started finishing their final laps. They've ended up 13th and 17th. So not the greatest of runs by the Renault guys by any stretch of the imagination, but hopefully they can recover in the race, because as everyone knows, you don't get any points in qualifying, you just get points in the race. And they obviously have the supercharge to look forward to as well, as I know a certain someone who is starting in last really wants to get a supercharge award. He doesn't muck about with that sort of thing. I think that is everyone. So a bit AI having a bit of fun there. Good. That's what we like to see. And now APS Hamilton's car has run out of fuel. I'm not too sure why the session hasn't ended, but should do any second now. We're just waiting for Savage Aqua's McLaren to be wheeled back into the pits. It should finish now. If not, we're just going to have to wait for the time to run out. So, yes it does. I was correct. Not too sure why it's giving me experience. I didn't compete, but there you go. Everyone starts coming back into the pits. We can see the lineup of everybody for the Chinese Grand Prix round 2 of ILR3. Obviously a shorter season this time because the Codemasters decided to release early. So on the pole then is Hamilton, beside him is Savage Aqua on the inside line. So ABS Hamilton's going to have to get a great start off the grid if he wants to keep that first position. Smasher Sam, ILRT Jason, AOR Edited Fawn, Callum G, ILRT Series. He would have wanted better from that Mercedes, but unfortunately not. I think he made a few errors on his last lap. Revolution 44, Rampage 96, ILR Bibbin, Joker, Leper Affinity, Freyhard Wiz, Epics, Blazer Guns, Vanquisher, AJH, Passion 1G. I'm not too sure what happened to him. I would have completely ignored that time, obviously. And then Snod, who didn't set one in the end. So, I'm not too sure what to think. Most people, I think pretty much everyone actually is starting on the soft tyre. So there's not really any advantage to be had at the start in terms of tyres. So everyone did one flying lap at the end. I think only a couple of people did invalidate it. And those who did tend to be starting outside the top 10. So they're going to have fresh choice anyway. As is the rule in Formula 1. I mean, there's a bit of an interval here. We've got everyone waiting for setups on the line, picking their strategies. I would have thought it was a dry race because it is clear as you. It's reasonably clear. It is a bit of cloud, but everyone should click over to the tick in a sec, because as soon as the first person readies up, you get a 30-second warning, and then we go. Hopefully this game behaves tonight and we don't have to restart for any unnecessary reason. Like, for instance, the lap counter freezing, like we saw last season in ILR1. Things like that just shouldn't happen. I don't know how they do, to be honest, because, like, for that to happen, you've got to have you've got to be trying to screw a game up, surely. So we'll go to the lap data on, see position change. Most importantly, for the Supercharge Award, yeah, pretty much everyone on soft steerage. Of course, he didn't set a lap on his last run, so he's going to start on mediums. So initially off the line, he won't have as much grip, but as that crossover point starts to take shape, he is going to become the faster car on track and maybe start to make up a few positions. So when everyone switches onto the mediums in the later stage of the race, steerage, on the other hand, is going to be on fresh softs, as well as them being a couple laps younger as well. So even if steerage doesn't make many positions up initially, expect him to, around lap, I would say 17 to 28 would probably be the pit point for the mediums. You see in the background in P7, he's going to have the outside line into turn 1 over the same person starting on his grid slot Revolution. So he's going to need to defend that off. So turn out of 19, I would have expected quite a good race from that standpoint. G seems to have left the session, so that issue was obviously terminal. AJH, that is not how you warm up your tyres, buddy. Grass is going to do anything but warm up your tyres. As AI start to take over their cars, it's up to me, because Samsung's actually backing them up quite violently. Is violently the right word? I'm going to go with violently. Still disqualified as well. That's not a good omen. That is not a good omen. So will ABS be able to hug the outside line, or maybe force Aqua over to it? compromise Aqua maybe into turn 1. And his start, I'm going to be looking for those red lights when everybody's lined up very quickly, in fact. So here are the lights, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, great timing from those. And it's lights out, question mark, was that a jump start from McLaren? I have a feeling it was, he's gone straight into the lead, but I have a feeling, what on earth is that? Anyway, I think Hamilton has managed to defend that original position from turn 1, but no, McLaren of Aqua actually fights it back, but the position switches to the inside line from Hamilton in this turn 4. He's managed to keep his lead off the pole position. Maybe he's going to be under threat from McLaren going into the hairpin of turn 6. Edison 4 not had the great start, he's down 2. ILRT Jason taking the podium position away from Smasher Sam. ILRT Series having more of a mare, he's actually just given him a 5-second stop go. So when he does pit onto those softs, he's going to have to stay there for 5 seconds before he actually gets given in his new tyres. I think there was a reasonably tame start, although I do see quite a few people down, such as Vanquisher and Revolution, who've made maybe a bit of spin. Blazer Guns as well in the Ferrari is going to have to look out to Williams, not doing too great either. HAH on the other hand, from 18th, from 17th, sorry, he's up to 11th, so fantastic start from the Renault. Making very good progress up the field, taking advantage of all those that have had moments in front of him. Steerage still in P7. Surprisingly, who was that going off into the wall? That was very violent. I think that was ILR Bibbin in the Toro Rosso. That was straight off. He's had a bit of a moment with heavy fuel. Completely slewed around and hit the wall. Passion 1G not in session anymore, unfortunately. He had an issue which meant he had to retire. He didn't do anything in qualifying, really. ABS Hamilton with the first lap of the race, of course. He started on pole, he stayed in first, and I think he's actually started to pull away a bit from McLaren. So great pace from the Mercedes initially. Jason not too far behind him either. Smasher Sam's actually got a bit of a gap between him and the Red Bull right now. Jason with some great pace. Blazer Guns getting a 5-second stop penalty for a collision with Epic, so we'll have to have a look at that later on. Prehard Wiz also getting a fantastic start in the Renault. Let's look at the position changes. Snod, however, has... Actually, no, Freyard Wiz does have the best start in the Renault, up 8 positions. He's not going to be best impressed with that, as he did want that very much. He is going to have to make a move on Leopard if he wants to tie with Freyard Wiz in the Renault. Unless, it doesn't look like he's going to lose a place to the Red Bull. He was in the Red Bull last season after all. He's actually starting to put pressure on Smasher Sam. He's feeling it in on those soft tyres much more than he felt it in qualifying. So, as I said, points are in the race, not in qualifying. Freyard Wiz has proven himself in the past to be a prolific racer. I think he was actually on the podium a couple of times last season in the Red Bull. So that's a great effort from him in the Renault. Reasonably stable out front at the moment. Down through the field seems to be where it's all happening. Callum G is actually ghosted. I'm not too sure what's happening there. God is actually going to have a go at left affinity in the Ferrari. He's going to have to go around the outside. If he passes him, that means he's tied with Freyhard Wiz for the Supercharge. I think left affinity has actually managed to defend that. I think the Supercharge is going to go to Freyhard Wiz, but left affinity does go wide, but he manages to stay ahead of the Sauber. So Supercharge goes to Freyhard Wiz. It did go to Snod last week in Australia after quite a long time trying to discuss it. It does go up 8 now, but it was at the end, start of the third lap. If he'd done that or the end of the second lap, it would still be going on the battle. But as he tries to get past, the finish of the last point finish in place. Freyhard Wiz continuing to put Force India under quite a bit of pressure, and Force India isn't getting reasonably close to the Red Bull than he was before, but not by a dramatic amount. Freyhard Wiz gets a good exit out of the turn 12. Turn 13, sorry. Out of turn 13, he picks up the Force India under pressure, because of course DRS is enabled this lap. Trying to get some latent slipstream off the Mercedes. He hasn't got DRS, he was over a second behind, I'm pretty sure. He brakes quite a bit later than Mercedes though. Both lock up a small bit. not seeing any gaps closed a lot, but I have a feeling Scott's going to have another go at Lepiniti. Lepiniti hugs the inside line as much as he can. He does not want that Sauber getting fast. Continues to hug the inside. That's some great defending from the Ferrari, but I have a feeling with the amount of pressure he's putting on the Ferrari, I have a feeling something has to give soon. Some great attacking and also some great defending from the Ferrari. A good battle between these two. Oh, he goes wide. That's going to open the door for the Sauber into turn 3. I wouldn't think he would fight this battle back with that much effort, but he stopped again, locks up going into turn 4. Big moment for the Ferrari coming out of turn 4, and I think he's going to finally concede that position to the Sauber. He looks to the inside, tries to dumb him a bit. Not again, locks up just a bit like he did in turn 4, but manages to get that last points position away from the Ferrari. Now up 9. So he is actually better than Freyhard Wiz. If he'd just done that overtake a little bit sooner, he would have actually won the Supercharge Award, but unfortunately for him, Freyhard Wiz did have 8 at the end of lap 2 and Stott only had 7. Revolution and Bibbin getting the worst, collectively getting the worst start out of any two drivers, because I think they both started in the top 10, and now they're both in 16th and 17th. They both had pretty big incidents, but yeah. Not great from that garage. Not saying it's their fault, but yeah, we're going to have to look at those incidents after the race just to see what happened. The top 5 rather, are bunching up quite a lot. That DRS is keeping Eckler in touch with ABS Hamilton quite well. Of course, he can't follow him for too long. Yeah, it doesn't affect people in game as much. He's getting very close to that Mercedes. He's going to have to go soon enough. Jason is also going to be interested if they also start a battle. So is Matt Sam. Any one of the top 4 could still win this race, depending on if any incidents happen, if anyone goes off. He gets a bit of a moment though, going through turn 6. Doesn't compromise him too much. Actually, to be honest, any one of the top 5 could still win, because Freyhard Wiz isn't putting lots of pressure onto the Force India, but it is still there. Sam does know if he does go wide, makes a big enough mistake, the Renault will be past him. That's just going to make his job even harder. Judging Hamilton is quite obviously better in the corners at the moment, because that gap opened from 3/10 to around 7 through turn sector 2, which is where all the major corners are. So now it's gone down to about 9/10. I think that's defeated any possibility of him going for a move into the hairpin. Now we're going to go on board with Smasher Sam. He's only 3% behind Jason. Jason hasn't got DRS. Jason goes to defend the inside line. Smasher Sam's going to have to go around the outside. Depends when Jason breaks. Jason breaks late enough so he can still defend into the hairpin at turn 14. Jason gets a massive 5-second stop-go penalty. I think that's a bit harsh in the game. There is a bit of wheel banging between the Red Bull and the Force India. The Force India's got the inside line. Going to turn 15, there's another bit of contact for the Red Bull and the Mercedes. Mercedes Force India, well, Mercedes powered Force India. Freyhard Wiz has now got the launch on Jason out to turn 15. Jason's got the inside line into turn 1. I would have thought he would have been able to defend it unless Freyhard Wiz can do a Bottas from 2018 and go right around the outside. He's now got the inside line going into turn 4. Freyhard Wiz is still there, and that is a nice move from the Renault. Jason now down to 5th. Joker is actually having a go at Rampage as well. We couldn't see that either, as I was too busy on the battle between Jason and Wiz and Sam. Jason shouldn't fall back. He was defending from the Force India previously very well. It's just that edge the Force India had on DRS going into turn 14 that enabled him to do that overtake. Say if he was still in 2010, or the year before DRS was, well, hidden four-wheel drivers, I don't think that same move would have happened. And we're now around a second behind Hamilton, so Hamilton has started pushing it, or it could be actually started to make a few mistakes. He gets a bit excited on the exit, bit of opposite lock. He manages to keep all the McLaren in check. Lap 6, he won't have DRS, he is way over a second behind now. Jason's going to get DRS, Wiz is going to get DRS, Special Sam doesn't, so Special Sam is now going to have to do all the defending from the two Renault-powered cars of the Renault and the Red Bull. Of course, it is all equalled out here though, so they all have performance of the Mercedes, or that's what they say. People do still have preferred cars of what they like driving at Hamilton now with the fastest lap of the race. Is not going to be able to keep with that pace. By sort of process of elimination, we would have seen him extend that gap. Rayhard Wiz is looking up the inside of Smasher Sam. Smasher Sam not seeming to have the pace as he did last week around Australia. But around Australia, he was keeping very good distance from the two Mercedes behind him. Not many moves into turn 6. Many more moves into turn 6 in real life than we do in the game. It's because that effective slipstream, that effective dirty air isn't as strong here. But a bit of DRS. The third DRS going up to turn 6, I think that would have been all be sorted. Joker did actually make that move in the end on Rampage, and he's quite a distance away already. Now I think if Snod caught up to Rampage, I would have conceded, because of course they are on different strategies as well, so I wouldn't impede him any more than is necessary, because they are teammates at the end of the day. There are two championships you've got to remember, constructors and drivers. We'll try and get both. I haven't got the table at the moment, but from what I saw last week, Sam will have 40 points at the end of it, and APS Hamilton will have 40 as well, so it will be all square at the top of the table, and I think ILR3 Steerage will be not too far behind in P3 from memory, because I know he did get second at the end of that race. With another dose of DRS, Jason 2. Any moves are going to come from this so far. I think most people at the moment are just trying to, keep their tyres in check, keep just everything in check, because with what the tyres are doing at the moment, they're going to start to get to the end of their stint, particularly the softs. Mediums are only about halfway through, or just under. Halfway through this lap, they will be halfway through, so I think the highest mediums on at the moment is Steerage, and with Steerage, we wouldn't have made many positions. I think I was right, he is still in P7 where he started. It's the last stint when we want to see this Merc come alive on the soft tyre compared to everybody else being on the mediums. And we're still keeping in the top 10 on the mediums qualifying lap. That is a good effort anyway from the Merc. I think, depending on the sort of run he gets on his last stint, would dictate whether he's on the podium or not. More DRS from the Renault. Still think he's too far back to have a go at Force India. Jason's dropped back a lot from these two though. He's still going to be trying to go for it. I don't think a move in turn 1 is going to come about either. So I think actually Smash Sam has got the edge on straight line speed, because he was only around 6 behind him. Yellow's sector 3, I'll just scroll through to see who that was. I think that was Blazy Gun, who's now got dust and gravel all over his tyres. Maybe did similar to what Bibbin did earlier. Or Evolution, either one. Safety car, this every race. Wiz now very close to the Force India. As a matter of fact, the Force India of Sam is actually closer to the McLaren than the McLaren is to the Mercedes. If you want the tyres, I'll give you the tyres. But everyone, apart from the bottom 3 still running, everyone's still on the same lap old tyres. The only difference is compound, so we do see, would have thought the crossover point would have been in a couple of laps time. And we can start to see the Mercedes of Steerage start to come alive, as Steerage is now about to put a move on Thorn, a bit of DRS, falls over to the right, Thorn doesn't bother to bend that too much, falls back over onto the racing line, no contact, pretty easy move from the Merc. And now he's P6. First major move he made for the race. As he did start on a harder compounded tyre, that crossover point is starting to... Oh, Savage Aqua into Savage Aqua has pitted. So, he's actually pitted a lot earlier than I would have thought people would have. I would have tagged the... What do you know? End of lap 9, so that's going to give him 19 laps on those mediums. So we've gone from 9 and 19. Big ask for those mediums, unless he just burnt out those softs a bit too much. Of course, the more you burn out your first stint, the more you're going to have to save the other stint. So you've got to keep that in mind. Well, we're still very close. He's actually extremely close behind Rasha Sam now. And he's as much cut as he can in fast corners. He is going to get that dirty air. I know still, as I said before, it's not as brutal as it is in real life, dirty air factor. But it's a lot of instant 5-second stop-go penalties. Not a lot of just 3-second stop, 3-second penalty, 3-second penalty like we normally see. Game at the moment seems to just go straight to 5 seconds. No mercy. I think Wiz is losing most of his time to that slow chicane just before turn 13 where he's launched onto the straight. Prix is now P5 as a result of Sam's effort. Gran's got a bit of free air. He's got 5 seconds of free air in front of him. First car he's got to come into contact with his Vanquisher, but Vanquisher was pit before that anyway. He is on soft, the same tyre as it was before he pitted. That is another car going in, Snapper Sam, and edited on pit. Jason, sorry, pit. Yellow's in sector 2. I'll just scroll through to see what it is. That's Epix. He's just gone for a bit of a spin. This is definitely your Chinese Grand Prix in debt for Epix. I think people just following their dry stint strategy just shows that this is going to be a dry race. Even though he's done her twist on him, that may cool a bit, but nowhere near as much change as it would if it was wet. It's not actually that far behind the rest, around 2.5 seconds. He is catching, so definitely the crossover point is now. Those softs are really starting to fall away on the grip. A lot of engine braking for the Merc as well. I see that we've got a bit of a better Chinese Grand Prix here than we had in real life just last week. I think that was probably the most boring Grand Prix I've ever watched in my life. Apart from Danny Kvyat causing two McLarens to catch some air, I don't think there was much to look at that whole Grand Prix. Apart from the masters of team orders themselves, Ferrari giving another cue to Charles Leclerc, which is not what we like to see. It's probably Epix advertised in the session. I would have thought that was coming anytime soon. And Spirit just closed that gap in 2.5 seconds to around 8/10 in around 2 seconds. So Freyard Wiz does hit. You notice the calibre of which Steerage has caught up. It's just needs to hit now. Steerage does actually set the fastest lap. Those tyres are really starting to come to that car, to his Mercedes. He's really treating those well. He's really starting to go for it. And as a result of him going for it, he set the fastest lap of the race. And consequently, I know he hasn't pitted yet, but he is now in the lead. Nod, I know he hasn't pitted again, but he has gone from last to P2. So I think that just in general is a good accomplishment. And Vanquisher behind him is around 9 tenths behind. He's on softs as well. What we've seen in this game, do not trust what you visually see on the car, trust what is on the timing boards, because that is what is correct. So these are not ultras, they are softs. Lewis Hamilton has gone mediums, and so has Aqua, so has Sam. I think everybody who was previously running softs is going to mediums, which is just a sensible choice. And probably the correct one as well. Probably. It is the correct one. Or their one stopper that they are on. But I would have... It was a little bit earlier than I thought. I would have thought it was 13, so maybe not. Man, just overestimate how long it's run. Although, what that has done between two is... Actually, no, Aqua is actually having a go at Hamilton. I missed that. Aqua trying to go around the outside of turn 14. He doesn't make a stick, or does he? Hamilton doesn't push him right up. Although Aqua does go onto the grass, he had a bit of a squirrel on. And he did make a bit of side pod contact with the Mercedes. I think Aqua's only got himself to blame now. He's just got to keep a cool head. And maybe he can catch back up to the Mercedes. But he has given himself a much bigger gap than he previously had. And all that is going to do is enable steerage to catch up even more in his second stint. And Stefan is actually close to Agua now, again, but Agua is to the Mercedes. Right now, with and make easy work of Ferrari left of the He hasn't stopped yet, but there is an 11 gap difference between the tyres, so Prix with an enormous advantage in tyre grip at the moment. Goes down the inside at turn 6. Barely there from the Renault of Prix with. Where did it go? That would have not have been a very smart move from the Ferrari if he had actually committed himself to that. Goes very wide at turn 8 though, I think, with medium. They're not at the end of their life yet, but you can definitely tell they're starting to be. Very close to Aqua now. I wouldn't be surprised to see a move in the Porsche in the next few races. Next few laps. 1.2 behind. He was previously around 3 behind. Oh, Aqua was zigzagging all over the straight. I thought he was just trying to get a bit of slipstream from a back marker. But no, he was actually having a go at Hamilton, who is starting to catch up to Snodford Hodgson, otherwise known as Luke Norton. Yellow sector 3, what's that for? Rampage with a bit of a spin with, maybe that was just a mistake made by himself. He was on reasonably cold tyres, so it wouldn't have been a surprise. It's a Horn and he's trying to catch his teammate ILR3 Jason up. Hopefully they don't run into each other like they did last week. Actually no, I thought it happened last week. So I know they were actually pretty cool about their incident last week because I think it was another person that initially caused it. I can't remember off the top of my head who it was. Props to Jason though, he is on a padder in the yellow sector 1, that is Blazer Guns who's on for a spin. Is that going to let Rampage catch? No, but Rampage actually pitted. He may have actually hit the wall there and I didn't realise it. I think from here, it's soft, no it's mediums again, he's using his second set of mediums. I think those are the mediums he may have used in quali. As you know, he did lose his wing because, yeah, he just had a new one put on. He just saw the mechanics jump in front of that Sauber. So maybe, if a few more people have incidents, Revolution is going to recover and maybe actually have a points finish at the end of all this. Has picked the pace back up again. Started again on the Mercedes once again, and that Force India is starting to fall back. Just those sort of leery bits of oversteering he's getting to slower corners, costing him massively. Of course, we are seeing Hamilton lock out quite a bit on those mediums. Oh, they were originally on mediums and not liking the feel of, originally on soft, sorry, not really liking the feel of the mediums that much. I would have thought the soft window will be lap 17. 16, 17, I would have thought. Because you don't want to have them exactly equal, because that wouldn't make really much sense, to be honest. I mean, the medium's going to have an unnecessarily short stint, and the soft's going to have an unnecessarily long stint, so you may as well suit the tyres to what their needs are. The softs are quicker, but they degrade quicker as well. So just think, the softer the tyre you put on, the quicker the process is. The faster you go, but the faster they degrade as well. Apis Hamilton is behind the Sauber of Luke Norton, or Snodford Hodgson. I'm going to call him Snod for short. Going to get DRS. I wouldn't have thought Snod was on him too hard. He may actually leave him go into the hairpin, because he's not going to defend him for long. He does go, actually yes, he does let him pass. I thought he was actually going to defend that. And then slots right back behind the Mercedes. He just compromised Snod's race because Hamilton is in a completely different area to what he is in, and Snod is taking that almost as a signal to hit this lap. He has actually enabled Hamilton to get away a bit more from Savage. Actually gave a slipstream and DRS and then just let him go into the hairpin. So that's given him around about 5/10 advantage over the McLaren. And he used that against the McLaren and keep ahead for the remainder of this race. So that's where the main battle is right now. That is a very quick stop from the Sauber guys. Where is Snodder going to come out? I think it's P8. Is he going to get ahead of Leper, Affinity and Vanquisher? No, Vanquisher swoops around the outside of the Sauber. But the Sauber is top man on the softs at the moment. Just a question of where is Steerage going to come out on the softs? Oh, to be honest, judging from where he is at the moment, I would have thought P5. Because it's a reasonably long pit entry, it's not a very long pit out. Pit entry, you've got to go quite far offline to actually commit yourself to the pit lane. It's not like something like Baku or Spain where you just sort of jinx off to the side. Snod is staying with that. He doesn't even need to warm up those tyres. You can see he's keeping up with that Williams, Haas, sorry. Very nice. I was looking at Joker's car for a second then. For some reason, he's around 5 tenths behind. That would be easy enough to get past the Haas. With that shaky moment that Haas just had, he's going to be even closer. 4 tenths. He's going to activate DRS, where you see the two polystyrene boards on either side of the track. Staying DRS. Now Vanquisher is going right over to the inside line. He's actually zigzagging a bit. That is legal as long as you don't completely block the one behind. I think Snod's got the greatest exit coming out of 10-13. I would have thought he put under pressure going into Steerage. Does pit, he's come out just beside ILR and Fawn. Edison Fawn goes very wide. I think he actually caught the Red Bull out quite a bit there. With Steerage in P6 at the moment, I wouldn't thought there'd be any action against that because the pit lane is just so tight onto the racing line. I'd be quite surprised if they didn't hit each other. I thought it would have just been ILR getting forced out from the emerging Mercedes from Steerage. Steerage is now going to get after the Red Bull of Jason. They're both ILR3 boys, obviously, so mentality between people like this is you want to help their race sometimes as well. Your mates, you want to make it like as possible for you, for each other more. But also can make the case where you know each other, you want to beat each other, and you want to just have bragging rights over each other. Because it either goes one of two ways. It either goes nicer and the battle doesn't last as long, or it gets even fiercer. It's going to be one of the two. And he's just gotten DRS, I think. Oh, he hasn't. Didn't get, because the DRS zone is actually before turn activation protection. Thing. The protection zone is quite a bit before the actual activation zone. So, God has got past Vanquisher. Or Vanquisher's gone deep. It's not going to get switched back. I think he is, but Vanquisher's going to have the inside line into turn 15. I don't think I've ever seen anybody hanging around the outside of turn 15 before. No, he doesn't. He's got a robust defence on the Sauber. He's defending pretty well, although pretty aggressively. But he's going to start getting frustrated. Vanquisher's going to have to leave room for the Sauber. He's going to go very wide. The Sauber's just going to sneak up the inside, I think. Although Vanquisher is going to have the inside line for turn 4. Doesn't go wide and smash into the side pod of the Sauber. I don't think he has. Who's going to emerge out on top? It is Snod. He has gotten past the Haas, running the number 19, Felipe Massa. Felipe Massa's old number, of course, in Williams. Who can forget that? He's now very close behind the Red Bull of Jason. Jason, I would have thought, with Steerage is either going to, Jason does actually, I think he's going to let him pass. Yeah, he does let Mercedes of Steerage pass. It did go the first way off the two, as I was saying, because it is a nicer battle between the two. It does let the Mercedes pass. Mercedes now got 5 seconds between him and the Renault of Prix. 5 laps younger tyres, and it's off the compound. So I would have thought that gap would close. He has got 10 laps left, so I would have thought that was definitely closed up. Between the two. Top 4 have definitely spaced out at this point. For around 3-ish seconds behind Mercedes, smashing down 1.5 seconds behind him, and Freyhard has whizzed around 5 seconds behind him. Freyhard has got 5 seconds either side of him. He's in a bit of having a bit of a lonely race as to what it was like at this, well, the first 10 laps around. See a difference in tyre compound that the Red Bull and the Mercedes have. There's already a second of 1.1 between them, and that's only after just over one sector. Jason does let him go between turns 10 and 11, and just before the start of sector 3. Steers has already got around a 1.5 second gap. There's yellow in sector 3. I've just seen this position change. I've seen Rampage may have lost it again. I think he has. Yes, he has. Steers already closed that gap up, probably by around 1.5-ish seconds. So Greyhound Wiz going to be feeling the pressure already from the Merc. And it's already 2.5 seconds behind. This shows how sort of consistent Steers is. If there was that much of a gap between the two compounds at the start, it's a wonder he kept P7 all the way through. That's started to make up systems towards the end of his stint, just because of the crossover point, but now he's around 2 seconds a lap quicker than Greyhound Wiz. So if there was that much of a gap, how did he keep that position for the first 12-ish laps of the race is anybody's guess. Almost quite a big lock up there. Did Jason make a mistake into heaven? I think he may have. He's now behind his teammate, Ability Ford. He's going to try and go around the outside, and if he hangs with that, that is going to be quite a mighty move from Jason. He's now got the inside line. We saw these two battling quite ferociously last week in Australia. That was a mega move from Jason, but now he's going to be under pressure again from his Red Bull teammate behind the ILRGT. He may send it into turn 6. No, he doesn't. He does let Jason relax a bit. Steers is now seeing that Renault in his sights. You can see him just finishing turn 8 now, into turn 9 and 10. Quite a difficult braking zone. It's just one just sort of appears in your face from nowhere after a really long 180-degree turn of turn 8 into turn 12. Around 170 metres braking reward. Depending how confident you are on brakes, that takes into consideration how much brake pressure you've got, what tyre compounds you're on, how warm everything is, overheating everything is, maybe. Steers has made around 2 seconds from the 88. Give it a moment, I'll just scroll now and have a look. I think he may have not handling that Renault very well at all. Right, you can see a handful so far. With definitely pressure at this point, it goes wide through turn 15. Soon Steers is going to have DRS and fast lap 33.7. Great time from the Mercedes. Swooping into turn 1, 2 and 3. Super grip difference between the two cars. More short shifts from the Mercedes. Much too far back to send it into turn 6. So probably be a move either into turn 11 maybe, or if not turn 14, it will be massive 1.2 km along back straight that we saw Daniel Ricciardo do a few moves in 2018. And then one almighty dive bomb into turn 6 on Valtteri Bottas, who, if it were not for the safety car and the 2 Toro Rosso scores, would have probably won that race. He's looking, but Greyhound Wiz not wanting to give up that position nearly as easily as Jason was. Jason 6.4 seconds behind after 3 laps of racing for him. After this lap, he's going to have three more positions to make up between him and the win. I think him and the win are quite distant at the moment. I wouldn't have thought he would have got it unless there's some sort of safety car. If there was a safety car, I would expect everybody to dive in onto the ultra soft, because there's nothing to lose by doing so. And if you do so and nobody else does, you can make up a lot of positions by the end of the race. Providing that you don't have any incidents like losing to a win. Steers did have a reasonably easy move on Hard Wiz. He got DRS, went into turn 14. Thank you very much. I think Hard Wiz has much of a chance of staying with Mercedes, although Smasher Sam getting very close to the McLaren. If these two start battling, they can expect Steers to start catching up at a serious rate of knots. Within that Savage effort has really started falling away from APS Amazon. previously around, I'd say, a second. He actually had a go at him into turn 14, but made a mistake on exit, pushed the throttle a bit too hard, smacked into the sideboard, bit of grass, and then, yeah, he just hasn't really been in the same set of mind since. He's actually allowed Force India of Pakistan, who was our winner last week, actually, catch up to them. And again, I said, if these two start battling, Series isn't catching this pair as much as he was catching ILRT Series is catching Freyard Wiz, but again, I said, if these two start battling, I can expect Series to start catching up by around 2.5 a lap. I think he's already caught up by around 1.2, 1.3 this lap. Of course, he is on those much fresher tyres as well as them being younger. So he just has the best start on track at the moment. We saw him set in the fast lap, I think it was a 1:33.7. We'll just check that real quick. Yeah, 1:33.7 to ILRT Series. The biggest gap difference, I would have thought, would have been through the first two sectors, because that's where the majority of the corners are. Although if one of them makes a mistake in sector 3 into the hairpin or the long turn 13, which we saw, I think it was one of the Toro Rosso tore off at turn 1. A massive moment. I'm really surprised he didn't lose one of his wheels. But yeah, one of them makes a mistake in turn sector 3, they can expect to lose a lot of time. Understand, this is good pressure on Aqua, because I think if Aqua makes a big enough mistake, we can expect the Force India to be right on his tail, if not past him by the time he recovers. Because I think one thing we've seen from Sam the past two races is just pure consistency. And that is what has kept him in the game for so long. So Aqua seems to have very quick laps and then sort of mediocre and sort of flip between the two every now and again. Yeah, Steerage, I think they're starting to get a bit worn, evidence being front right lock up into turn 14. I think this pace will start backing up a bit now. I think, again, unless those two start battling in front of him, he is going to have to set up P4. I'm not going to look at the penalties. I don't want to spoil it. As I say that, thanks, sir. 5 second stop go penalty, although this race has been very brutal. There hasn't been many penalties, but when somebody has been given a penalty, it hasn't been warning penalty, it's just been a straight up 5 second stop go. No mercy from penalties this race at all. It's questionable, but just how this game is built, not built very well. I think sometimes we do see plenty of glitches. Yellow sector 1 and 2. Not sure what that is, but I think AJ is under threat from Revolution in the Toro Rosso. Toro Rosso goes down the inside as AJ is going to get switched back. No, he isn't. He's just going to run out right wide onto the curves. Not too much you can fight for there. There is a massive gap between tyre difference. Between tyre difference, sorry. Something doesn't work with it. 12 lap mediums compared to 6 lap soft. There's only really going to be one winner. Yeah, Steerage only really gaining around second each lap. And at this point, I say only, but compared to what he was doing before, I think he gained about 2.5 on Freyard Wiz in one lap. At one point, when he initially put those softs on. Now, they are only 7 laps old, so there is quite a lot of lap life left in them yet. He lost a bit there in the last sector compared to Spencer Sam, but Spencer Sam, is starting to really push it because he has got under that second gap between him and McLaren in front. So Steerage is going to be watching this very closely, and he's going to start rubbing his hands if he's not properly scrapping. The question is, Pakistan is able to stay in that DRS window to the end of the next 4 corners, now next 3 corners, he is going to have a time. And that gap is actually getting smaller. And I hate to say it, but I think this chicane is where we've seen most mistakes throughout this race. So DRS detection He is definitely within a second. DRS protection is there. So he has got DRS. He's at 8 tenths behind. He's not going to be able to have a move. He's going to be in much more of an inclined position to do so. Yep, it's DRS. Now he does have it. He saw his glass move over to touch the DRS button. He's not going to be able to move. He doesn't even bother shifting up to 8th gear. Savage is really going to start feeling the pressure now. This is going to be a battle between P2 and P3. Hamilton, I would have thought, if he doesn't make any mistakes, is going to have the win in China now. Axel goes very wide. Yellow's in sector 1. I'm not too sure what that is. Hamilton will hold his breath now to see what that is. The ILRGT series pace has leveled out. He didn't gain anything on that lap, I don't think. I think his only hope now is that these two start having an almighty battle between them. Later on, actually have had another moment as well down in the last of the runners. So Callum's been ghosted pretty much the entire race. I'm not too sure why, but I think it was his car that jumped the start massively, or what it looked like, but been disconnected short after. So I'm not too sure what's going on there with his internet, but he's even 2 tenths closer than he was before. If he stays this close behind the McLaren, I can see a move coming into turn 14 personally. Seems to be more purchase on turning with that Force India, even on medium tyres. Here is getting another 5 tenths this lap, but to gain 1.5 on the next two, that's a big ask. Seeing that the pace seems to have levelled out. He's got DRS, and defends the inside line. If he wants to pass, he's going to have to go to the inside line. Aqua closes, but not completely. He does put his nose in, compromises Aqua's line. I think Aqua's had a big moment, he's gone off. That's really going to put Steerage in good hopes. Aqua's, I think that's going to be it for Aqua. Aqua's tries to get back on track, squeezed the throttle again, went into the wall, lost his wing. That is massive disappointment for Aqua. Just let Steerage through. Steerage has got a podium position and he's retired from the session. He's furious at himself for that, and that's just unlucky from the McLaren. I mean, if he had just got out of that corner relatively easily and just kept his cool head, he would have been perfectly fine. He would have actually defended that corner for a place for a few more corners to come, but unlucky for his McLaren. ILR's Steerage is now, he's very happy with himself. He's gotten up from P3. He is pushing now, actually. No, it's not. P2, and it's mode on his engine. Sure. And actually, probably didn't get any damage there, but still just started closing that gap extremely quickly. He's now only 2 seconds behind. He was 3.5 behind. He has gained around 1 second this lap. They are both pushing. So this could be, Hamilton is actually running out of battery. Down into turn 14, judging that down to 4.5 seconds behind. Don't think he has much cause to panic. Also, judging by the fact he's got a rampant Mercedes behind him. This is going to be the difference between Mercedes 1.3 and Mercedes 1.2, I think. He is still 1.7 seconds behind, but he has got a massive pace edge. And I did forget, if he didn't have that 5-second stop go that he got at the start, I think passing under yellow, he would have been ahead of that Force India by now, which is a bit of frustration coming from Merc, but this is how this game works again. I need to really watch this battery series because it hasn't got much left at all. He's running in hot lap mode and he's got 10% left. So that was a big moment. He doesn't want to push those tyres any more than he needs to because he's going to have a big moment if he does push them over the edge. For 1 second, I don't think he's going to get P2. I think Hamilton's going to hold on, but there is only 3 more corners to go. So we'll go on board with APS Hamilton. Well, he's led from start to finish, apart from his pit window. and you can't really complain about that. Coming through turn 14, Sauber's just ahead of him. I think that's off Rampage. Yes, it is. So Hamilton, he's been the man. He's been the man on pole. He's been the man who's led the big majority of this race. It's the Chinese Grand Prix for APS Hamilton. He said he wasn't going to settle for anything lower than P2, and he's not, because he's got P1. Steerage giving himself a 3-second time penalty right at the end. Smasher Sam and Force India P2. ILRT Steerage P3, and Freyard was in the Renault. Great result for him, by the way, starting in, I think it was P13 up to P4. Also from Stodd from P19 up to P7 across the line for the Sauber. Great race from him also. Lancashire in the Haas, I think this is his first race as well. Good impressions, P8 is where we want to start. Although, as I say that, he does run out of fuel. Joker's going to be right there. Who's going to get it? It's just Lancashire by I don't even know how much. Leper finishes round out points paying position. But that was a pretty good race of just putting one another under pressure, seeing what each other did. I think the one who came under most pressure in that race was Aqua, who did crumble with a couple laps to go when he was battling around with Smasher Sam, who did manage to get P2 off of him in the end. And because of that retirement from Aqua, Steerage did get his podium. Although, maybe if Smasher Sam and Aqua had just battled for more than one corner, it was only really a one corner battle in the end. But if they battled for more than one corner, I could have really seen Steerage get P2. Oh, Jesus. Well, that's a way to finish the race, AJ8. GG. And there's your winner. And quite a attractive trophy as well. So I think Mercedes are the constructors to beat at the moment with a 2-3 finish, I think it was, and then a 1-3 finish. So both drivers have been on the podium in both races. Don't ask me why Hamilton runs the North Korean flag. I don't know. No one knows. So your order is APS Hamilton wins the Chinese Grand Prix, Smasher Sam and ILRT Steerage follow in behind him. Freyhard Wiz, ILRT Jason, AOR Edited 1, great race, the two Red Bull guys compared to last week. And you've got Snod, great race from him from P19 on the grid. And we've got Vanquisher in the Haas, Joker, Leper, Affinity, ILR Bibbin, Revolution 44, Rampage 96, AJ8 722. Callum G 247, Savage Aqua, AOR, why am I saying AOR? LR, Blazer Guns, and then Epics in the Williams, who didn't finish. Bottom three didn't finish. So give me a second as I do get everyone into the party. So we'll do a few interviews. Waiting for everybody to come in, just waiting for Sam now. Just remember to put your mic on so we can actually hear you in the stream. I'm just saying so because I haven't done it before and it's quite embarrassing. So, yeah. So as we wait for Smasher Sam, we may as well start with our P3 man, ILRT Steerage. Great race from you. Can you just take us through what happened in quali? Because I don't think many people were going to expect you to start in P7. Was it just an incident, or just didn't have a very good second lap, or what happened?
Well, I had DRS failure on my soft run, so that's why I had to
Ah,
start on
okay.
mediums. Which is gutting really, to be honest, because it put me completely out of the sync. Yeah, I knew it was going to be a battle from there, and then to make it worse, at the start I got a stop go for, well, someone spun I think, and it gave me an illegal overtake like this game does for nothing. So that's why I ended up third and not second. But you know, it happens. So and just move on to Bahrain now.
Although I have to say that was a great first stint on the mediums, although it may have looked quite unspectacular because you weren't really putting any moves on anybody, you were just sort of keeping the pace. But the pace difference you had on the soft different than the soft stint you had. I mean, the thing on Freyhard Wiz, you closed around 2.5 seconds at one point.
Yeah, I mean it was. Uh, I felt like my setup was really well suited for low fuel. The medium stint I tried to extend just so that I had really good grip at the end on the softs because I didn't want to burn them out too early. I know that you can obviously pit fairly early and go on to softs, but the problem is then is that you can take all your rubber away too quick and then not be able to put any moves on anyone at the end. I was closing in on Sam. I thought perhaps I had a chance to get him, but yeah, as I say, that stop go really hurt me, and it's just a shame, really. But well done to Sam and Hamilton. They did a good race too. So I'll be back in Bahrain, and I'll just see what I can do there.
Yeah, it was a great race from your side of the garage. Uh, Moving on to our P2 guy, Smasher Sam. Great race from you as well. Big battles with Aqua as well, particularly that incident on the last few laps. But can you just talk us through your side of that?
Yeah, well, obviously at the start I did a Max Verstappen on the formation lap. I spun and then got disqualified for um, being too slow, and then that gave me a bad start. I just understeered into turn one with my tyres being knocked temperature, and then that dropped me down into P4. But then I had a nice battle with Jason on about lap five. I were aggressive, but I don't think I was over aggressive. I forced him off the track, but he was nowhere near alongside me. But it cost him a position, but I don't think it was too over aggressive. And then I saw in the second stint, I actually felt like I was quite quick on the mediums. I were catching up to Aqua without even pushing, and I was saving the tyres. So, then I saw a couple of laps before the incident. I saw that we were losing the car, especially out of turn six, and he nearly spun one of the times. And then I clipped the incident just in case it might have been desync, and I hit him on my screen, but I don't think I think he just lost the car.
Okay, so going through all the drivers, then I wasn't too sure if it was just the mediums weren't very great or it was just a driver thing between just not having a generally good setup because I saw a lot of people losing it, particularly out of the slower corners.
Yeah, well,
So yeah, that was a great drive. Oh, sorry.
I didn't really have
Carry on.
enough time to practice, so coming out of China with the championship lead was sort of a miracle. I didn't think I'd have the pace for the leaders, which I didn't really in qualifying, but then to recover to P2, keep the lead of the championship, that's sort of a miracle for me.
Okay, so that was a great race in your Force India, and moving on to our winner, P1 ABS Hamilton. To be honest, that was probably you had probably one of the simplest races of the entire field. I mean, we had a bit of a battle with Aqua. I think that was I saw that battle. I think it was more Aqua's fault than yours. Just take us through your side of that as well.
Well, it was quite a boring race for me, to be honest. Like just like left in no man's land. But yeah, when Aqua managed to like keep up with me, because this game's really good, going down the back straight, the game froze my car for like 2 seconds, so I lost all the lead I had. So then getting to the hairpin, he was on my outside, and because he wasn't right alongside me, I felt all right. Yeah, I'll force him to the left hand side, but still give him enough room on track. But I feel like he was expecting me to move to the right, as I would have done normally, because that's the racing line. But I was being defensive, so he hit into the side of me, which forced him onto the grass. I mean, yeah, I feel bad for him, but it's just racing. It's one of those things. Like I feel like it's both of our faults, to be honest. But yeah, I feel bad for him, especially what happened later on in the race, which made him retire. Not really sure what happened with that. But yeah, it was just quite a boring race for me. Just I'm glad that I didn't get held in the pits, unlike Australia, because that was a mess. But I feel like it's a good result for constructors and closing up to Smasher Sam in the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, I think you heard what happened with Aqua. With his battle with Smasher Sam, I think he just... I feel bad for Aqua because he had a pretty good race. He just seemed to, every now and again, put too much power on. He just, particularly out the slow corners like turn 6 and turn 14, the hairpin. But yeah, that was a great race from you three guys. Congrats on the podiums and the win. So I think that is actually all we can say for China. Next race in Bahrain in a week's time. Hopefully